Hello, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be looking at how to tie into your harness using a rethreaded figure of 8 knot with a stopper. Check it out. So to be able to tie a rethreaded figure of 8 knot into our harness, we roughly need about a metre's worth of rope. The way that I personally measure this out, so I get the right length each time, is imagine that you're shooting like an arrow. So I'm holding the bow with the end, and all I do is shoot an arrow across my body like this. And from this opposite armpit, you roughly always get around a metre. Now obviously it does depend on how tall you are, but as long as we have enough kind of rope to be able to tie this, the reason being is we need a bit of tail left at the end so we can do our stopper knot. So there's a couple of different ways of tying a figure of 8. I'm just going to show you my two favourite ways of doing this. First of all, with just the tail on my left hand side, all I do is make a loop in the rope first. So I go left over the top of right, or make a snowman's head, get his little scarf, pass it round behind him, and then pop his nose on, and you'll end up with a knot in that kind of shape there, like that. Yeah, you can see why it's called a figure of 8. Now, another method of doing this is by twisting the rope instead. If you fold the rope in half, like this, so we haven't got the crisscross going on here, all we have to do is twist anti-clockwise, and then take the tail and just pop it up through and behind, and you'll end up with, again, another figure of 8 knot like this. Now, a really handy tip is, just in case your tail is too short, what we can do here is actually move this knot up and down the rope, which is kind of cool. The best way of doing this is simply, with these two holes, pop your two thumbs through and pull the knot apart like this. Now if I want it to travel down this side of the rope, so I get an extra bit of tail, if I take my thumb out of that loop, hold this end, keep my thumb and hand here still, all I do is just pull that, and it tightens towards my right hand side. If I want it to travel down the other way, really simply, again, pull it apart like this, but instead of letting going left, let go of right, take your thumb out of right, hold on to this, and it'll slide down the other way like that. Yeah. Obviously we need a bit more tail here. There we go. Once you've practiced that, you can actually get really quick at it and almost not have to measure out that metre at the start. So when we're tying this into our harness, we need to go through both bits. So we have our leg loops here and our waist strap, and they're two separate parts of the harness. This front bit is called our beelo loop, and this is where carabiners go through. So what we have to do, if you notice here, there's a hole here and a hole here. What I would do is go down through the top here like this, and then out through the bottom there, and it has to go through this loop, and then pull, so the figure of 8 knot comes in nice and snug next to your harness here. Yeah. So now we've got the knot here, what we need to do is rethread this figure of 8. So what we have to do is take this tail and pass it so it's effectively touching this other single strand, and we need to rethread it exactly the same way that this goes. So for me, I get the very end of my rope, because this is where I want to start, and the part of the rope that's coming out the top of your harness, pop the end of this onto there and pass it through that very first kind of hole there. Yeah. And then all we're going to do is now follow this underneath, so we're just doubling it up. Imagine it's like spaghetti junction, one lane goes one way, one lane comes the other, and then comes round underneath here. You can see this rope goes underneath these two strands, so we're going to go through there as well, like this, and then straight over, keep following it round until we come back up through this part here. There we go. So now technically what you should have is an 88. A really simple check to make sure you've tied this properly is you should have two strands together here, two strands in the middle, two strands at the end. And then if you flip it over the other way round, we should have 2 bits here at the end, 2 bits in the middle, and 2 bits closer to us here. Yeah, sweet. The final thing we're going to do here is finish off with a stopper knot. Figure of 8s are really, really strong, yeah, and they don't come undone. They're self-tightening knots. If I put more weight on here, the whole thing just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. However, just in case, you know, pretty much every climbing centre in the UK, you have to show that you can do a stopper, because it basically locks this knot off. So the knot that will never come undone, you do with a knot that will probably never come undone as well. I mean, it's called a double fisherman's. Really simply, we've got our tail here. What we do is, now, this is a trick that I use. I actually put my thumb onto this bit of rope here and hold this, yeah? And it's really simple, because I take this, wrap it over my thumb once, over my thumb again, but can you see how I've crossed the rope over, and this second loop is actually heading towards my figure of 8 knot. I'm not wrapping it this way, I'm wrapping it towards myself. And then once we've got that, I literally take my thumb out, because it leaves a bit of space, pop that tail up, and then pull this knot nice and snug next to your figure of 8 like that. There we go, we have a double fisherman's next to a figure of 8. Yeah, perfect. Now the way you check the double fisherman's is, if you tied it properly, it should have a little cross in it as well. Can you see here? It kind of crosses through. If you don't put it over the right way, kind of doesn't quite look right, does it? Yeah, it doesn't quite look nice and neat. Whereas if you keep that crossed over, you can see when you pull it, it'll actually pull it towards a figure of 8 knot. So there we go. And there we go, figure of 8 with a stopper. Check it out. Cool, thanks for watching. If you enjoy any of our videos, please remember to subscribe to our channel below. And if you'd like any more information on any of our courses, in the description below there's a link to our website, www.peakclimbing.co.uk. Check out all of the courses that we run. If you're interested in learning how to climb, then please get in touch. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Take care, thank you, bye bye.